this is the electrical diagram which you can connect to the stop-start system, and then you can have two operating modes. One, the system is permanently off, or the normal operation where you can use the stop-start button to switch it on and off. So let's first look at the start-stop button. So this button, it is connected to the ECU and ground. By default, the system is on, so every time you start the car, the system is on. And then on pin 1, when the system is on, you have ground. When you want to switch it off and you press on the button, what happens? On pin 3 you have ground, it is connected to ground, and then pin 3 and pin 6 are connected together. So basically through pin 6 there is ground going to the ECU. Then the ECU switch off the system, and what happens, because inside the button you have a LED indication, when the system is off, the ECU brings 12 volts to pin 1 and the LED inside the button is illuminated. So I'm using this to operate the system. Now let's have a look actually at the automatic that I made to keep the stop and start system constantly off. So it's a simple electrical diagram with the timer 555, which operates in a monostable mode. So what does it mean? Whenever you have 0 volts, or in our case ground, on pin 2, it triggers the timer to generate a pulse on the output pin 3, pulse of 12 volts and duration of approximately 1.5 seconds with this configuration here, which simulates the press of the stop and start button. So basically with this relay here, it simulates as you are pressing on the stop and start button. I also added an additional switch which connects pin 4 to ground, and in this case the system will operate as nothing is connected to it. So the normal operation by default, stop and start, is on, and you can switch it off with the button. Now let's have a look how the this operates when it is connected in the car. So as I mentioned, by default the system is on. So on pin 1 you have ground. You have connection to 12 volts. Preferably you should connect it to a fuse which is only active when the ignition is on. But you can do it other way around. I mean, you can connect it just to 12 volts. It's not an issue. So when you start the car, the system by default is on. So on pin 1 you have ground. This ground is going into the input 2 of the 555 timer, which triggers the input the output 3 at 12 volts for approximately 1.5 seconds. Then this relay here is turned on, and you see that through the relay you send ground to pin 6 of the button, which simulates as you are pressing on the switch. Then the system is turned off, and as you can see, when it is off on pin 1 you get 12 volts from the ECU, so the LED within the button is illuminated, and then you have 12 volts on pin 2 of the 555 timer, and then nothing is generated at the output, so the system is switched off and then remains off. Even if you stop the car and then restart it, it will repeat the same procedure. It will turn the system automatically off. It has another benefit, because sometimes the stop and start system is off already when you start the car, because certain conditions like your setting on the airco, the outside temperature, or the battery charge is not met. So basically when you switch the car, the ECU will turn the system off already from the beginning, but then at some point when the conditions are met, it will turn on the system again. And then with this schematic here, when the ECU turns the stop and start system on again, it will automatically trigger the 555 timer. It will generate a pulse, the relay will send ground to pin 6, and it will switch off the system again. If you press on the switch here, and then pin 4 is connected to ground, then the stop and start system will operate as if nothing is connected to it. So you will be able to switch it on and off with the button, and by default when you start the car it will be on. It is a very simple solution, very easy to be made and to be connected to the car, and the cost of it is around 10 euro, and of course you need to spend a couple of hours building the schematics and also making the connection in the car. But overall, yeah, it's a very simple solution that you can easily do yourself. So here is the demonstration of the small schematic that I already installed on my DS to disable the stop-start automatic system. So now I will demonstrate first. I start the car, and the system is disengaged, so the car starts as usual with start stop enabled. Then of course from the button you can switch it on and off. So in this mode it operates like the original system installed in the car, no matter that there is already some electronics connected. Now I installed an additional button here with which I will enable the system. So you see that immediately the start-stop is deactivated. Now the good thing is that even if you press on the button, it will not be turning on the start-stop, it stays off. And the same when you stop the car and when you start, it is immediately switched off. Of course, if you want to still use it, then yeah, I made it with an option to with this button here. You press it and now it is possible to activate the system like nothing is connected to it. And even if it is switched off, at the moment I press the button, the system is disengaged. And again, if you stop the car and restart it, it will be immediately deactivated. So finally, yeah, this annoying system, at least for me, I'm able now to keep it off.